The jester, you may be first, but do you have papers? Show me the papers. Oh, we have Joseph Wagner. Wagner, I want to see the papers. Oh, show me the papers. Making sure that everyone has papers. We keep people safe here. Safe from triggering. Just because the virus doesn't pass through the internet doesn't mean that you can trigger someone if you do not have the papers. What message would you send? What standard would you put out if you do not have the papers? You just got a note? I don't know, a note is not a paper. Oh, it needs an official government stamp. Only the government can certify things. Only the government can declare what reality is. So you need to have a paper. Do you know what I did to police officers, by the way? I had a police officer ask me for papers. Do you know what I did? Does anyone in the chat can figure out what I did to the police officer that wanted to see my papers? Let's see. Let us see if anyone in the chat knows. What do you do when the police officer asks you for papers? He wants to see the papers. What do you do in that situation? Let's see, the chat is still waiting. They don't have papers. If you had papers, you would have already listened to it. I see BDA knows, yes. If a police officer asks you for your papers, you ask him for his papers. Take that, officer. I want to see your papers. Do you have them? Are you certified by the government? Are you in a position to ask me for papers? Oh, you are. Well, in that case, here are my papers. You show me yours, I show you mine. We show each other the papers because we live in a civilized society. So let's see, $5 super chat. Red pill me on Tonga. I have no idea what Tonga is. Is it the volcano that erupted? Let me see if Tonga is what I think it is. Yes. Okay. So a lot of people, for some unknown reason, kept asking me about this. Like I got 5 DMs, I'm not kidding. Like on the Twitter, 5 people gave me DMs. It's like, hey, V, what do you think about the Tonga? And I'm like, what do you want me to think about it? Some nasty shit. Like, what can I say? Yeah, it's horrible. Like what else can you say in this situation? Like a volcano erupted. Like, okay, horrible. It's a force of nature. Like, what do you want me to say? There's no way to prevent it. Like, you can't put the lava back in. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. So, yeah, it's nasty. It's nasty. I hope that the people there are safe. Like, well, it's kind of weird. Like, when you ask someone, like, what do you think about what this politician did? Okay, well, then we can talk. We can have a discussion. But a volcano erupted. Like, what do you have me to say? It's like, lightning strike, V. What do you think about it? It's like, okay, well, I hope no one got hurt. I don't know. Like, what can I say? In Romania, we don't even have volcanoes, so... or maybe we do, I have no idea. But, no, I don't think we do. I think we have inactive volcanoes. So I don't know how it's like to have these environmental forces rain ash upon you. Like, you go outside that it's snowing in the middle of the summer. It's probably nasty. Apparently, it also created a tsunami. That's another thing that's nasty. Like, imagine how a tsunami is like. But at least, I guess, like, people have a warning, like a heads up when these things happen. I'm really glad, like, I don't live in Japan or New Zealand or some other island nation where you have tsunamis and shit. I mean, that is just something that my mind can't compute. There's also a new phenomenon in Romania, tornadoes. Like, we never had those. And apparently there was a big thing because 2 years ago a bus drove into a tornado. And you're wondering, like, how on earth can the driver be this dumb? Well, he saw it and he pressed the pedal to the metal thinking he's going to outrun it. The tornado was coming from left to right. He was driving from bottom to up, and he saw it, and he accelerated. Turns out it was a bad idea, a bad move. That's not what you're supposed to do. Yeah, if I was there, I wouldn't have done it like that. I would have done it differently. I would have hit the brake and then tried to turn around. But like, you know, like that, I guess that's another thing, right? Like, a lot of people are commenting after the fact. So you're a driver, you have no training because you're Romania, right? Like, maybe they have training in the United States and they know what to do. But like, he doesn't know. So he sees the tornado on the left side. Now, you have two choices, right? You can stop, but what if the tornado just comes towards you? I mean, what do you do then? Right? Do you back? I mean, if you use the reverse, it's not as fast as if you go forward. So if you don't stop, you can go forward and accelerate, hoping that you're going to outrun it. Well, I've no idea. To be honest, it was a little smaller tornado, like no one got hurt. It did tip the bus over. But, I guess, like, if he was standing still, he would have probably not been tipped over. I guess he panicked. So if he would have just stood still, he would have not had, like, the same force. Because, like, when you're driving, you have, like, one force, and then the tornado pushes you in the other direction. So, yeah, whatever, you know. But like, at least that's something we can talk about. It's like, what do you think about that tornado? Because you're not talking about the tornado itself. You're talking about the way the driver reacted to it. People started having tornadoes in Poland. They're nasty. Like, from what I can tell, they're really nasty. I also understand that there's the same reason why fish were raining in Texas. Because a lot of people were shocked. They didn't believe the news. Fish are raining in Texas. Like, what are you saying? And there was a whirlpool, like, kind of like a tornado in the water, and it got the fish out from the ocean, and it threw them in the air. And then it started raining on that little Texas city or village or whatever. So that's how it happens. And apparently it's very rare, but it can happen, and you can also have frogs falling from the sky and exploding. It's also nasty. Like, think about it this way. You're driving your car, and all of a sudden, blam, like a fish on top of your windshield. And it's filled with fish guts now, because if you take a fish high enough and, you know, like, the tornado pulls it in the air, when it goes down, it goes splash. So unless it lands on something soft, it's nasty. It's a lot of nastiness. Yeah, it was a micro tornado, like, obviously, because, like, if the bus managed to hit one of those tornadoes you see in the movies, the ones that took Dorothy outside of Kansas, yeah, you're kind of in bad luck. By the way, I also want to add, the person who wrote, like, The Wizard of Oz, what the fuck was he thinking? Because, like, when I was a kid, I always wanted to see a tornado just so I could go into it, so I could go into Oz. Unironically, you know, like, kids don't really know if they're being bullshitted or if it's reality. So when I read about Dorothy going into a tornado and, like, meeting the scarecrow and shit, I was like, oh, I wish I would see a tornado to take me outside of Kansas, even though I didn't live in Kansas. So there was no disclaimer on that story. There was no, like, warning, tornadoes do not function the same like in the story. I'm curious, like, how many American kids also thought the same. Or was I the only one that was thinking this? Because when you're a kid, you don't really realize, like, okay, well, you get to fly a little bit. Don't laugh, Matt. Don't laugh. I'm pretty sure, like, when you were a kid, you also thought dumb shit. Like, there's a fat man with a red coat that's coming down your chimney. This is another thing that, like, see, as a kid, well, apparently I did know that, I didn't know about tornadoes, but I did know that Santa Claus can't be real because, like, how on earth is he coming into my house because we don't have a chimney? How is he breaking and entering? 130 winds sounds like a good place for windmills. Yeah. But anyway. American kids see real tornadoes. Yeah, well, I assume that if I would have seen one, and I'm, like, noticing how things are flying in the air, I would have probably be, you know what? Fuck Kansas. Or whatever. Where did Dorothy go? Yeah, she didn't went into Oz. She went into, like, the Yellow Brick Road. So, like, she went into a different place. Yeah, fuck that fantasy place. I'm not going into that. So I guess it's because I never actually seen one. As such, I never had to make the logical conclusion, the logical decision. I always wanted to jump into tornadoes the moment I learned about it. Oh, I guess I wasn't the only one. Yeah. Maybe the tornado is like a Santa teleporter. You go into the tornado and it takes you to the North Pole. I have no idea. It is so so silly. But it's not just me. Like I keep mentioning this. They made this TV show for kids to teach kids that spiders are your friends. Like you shouldn't kill a spider if you see it because it's harmless and it actually eats insects. So like don't attack spiders basically, right? They're creepy, they're crawly, but they don't do any harm. And apparently that cartoon was banned in Australia. I wonder why. Like, by the way, this is another question. We're going to talk about Australia in a bit, but when they put you under house arrest for your safety, right? Like when it's the COVID measures and whatnot. What if you have like one of those big huntsman spiders, the ones that can actually kill you? Like, what if you have one of those in your houses? Like, are you allowed to break quarantine to throw it out, or do you have to live with it until the quarantine is over? Like, what do? You put it in a jar and you stare at it, huh? And one day you wake up and the jar is empty. I mean, that is browning of the pants moment right there. Because like you think seeing the spider every day is worse, right? Like you think seeing it in the jar is what's creepy. Okay, now imagine that one morning you don't see it anymore. Like it's gone. And you know it's probably hungry because it hasn't eaten anything. It hasn't drank anything. You're looking around and you don't see it. Then you lift your pillow to make the bed and you see the spider playing Need for Speed on your bed. Is that the Australian experience? My God, like I was talking to Beric one day. And the man, I think it was Beric. He tells me he was taking a shit and he sees a snake next to the toilet. And then I'm like, dude, is that the Australian experience? Like, how the fuck? Was it venomous? And apparently he doesn't know because he's not a snake specialist, right? But I guess you assume that they're all venomous? It's kind of like when you see an unvaccinated person, like you assume they all carry the plague. It's probably the same with the snake. It's like, dude, I'm not an expert. I don't know which one is venomous and which one isn't, but if I'm on the shitter and I see a snake next to the toilet, I would probably crap a lot faster. Like that snake would definitely help you empty the bowels a lot faster than you're supposed to. So, yeah, I mean, it's the best reason. Like, if the authoritarian dictatorship isn't enough to convince you not to go to Australia, then clearly the fauna should be. It's like one of those Warhammer 40k death worlds, It's like the fauna there is eerily bizarre. It's not only like the snakes and the spiders, you also have like other things. Like apparently you have various rodents that bite the cable wire and they electrocute themselves and they cause power outages. You have raccoons which go into your trash bin, like they push you over your trash can and they make a mess. Horrible place. I don't know. I mean, it's not definitely. It's a place that I wouldn't like to live. Oh, and by the way, just so you can understand what the Australians did, they had a feral cat population, but I don't know what is going on there. Like maybe it is a deaf world, and the fauna is causing the feral cats to undergo evolution a lot faster than everywhere else. And now they have like these massive feral cats. Like they actually declared war on the feral cats. If you Google it, you will see like there's cats that are being taken out by hunters, and they're almost as big as the hunter themselves. So they're not wild cats, but they're like feral cats which managed to transition. They skipped an evolutionary link or something because my God, it looks like a saber-toothed tiger. So yeah, it's what it is. Let's see. We got 2 super chats. Australia doing something right for once. Also, doesn't the US have venomous spiders too? Yeah, but they're a lot more rare. I mean, the thing is, in Europe and in the US, of course we have venomous spiders, but they're quite few and you kind of recognize them. So in Romania we have the spider with the cross. Like it literally has a cross on its back, right? So don't touch that shit. But
in Australia, like there's so many that are venomous, and it's not like the venomous spider of Europe. Because like most spiders in Europe, even if they're venomous, like unless you have an allergy or something, you can still make it. Like you can survive. There are spiders in Australia where you don't make it. Like if they bite you, you're dead. There is even one that gives you a boner for 24 hours and then you're dead. I don't know which one is the boner spider, but yeah. So that is why people are freaking out about Australia. And not to mention, like most spiders in Europe, you usually like they usually don't come to you, right? Like unless you're going in a forest, unless you're traveling outside and you hit a net. Okay, fine. In Australia, you have like spiders the size of a plate. Alright, and these things go out. I think like one of them is the huntsman spider or some shit. And it actually, like the male, it goes seeking for the female. And it goes into your house and it plays Need for Speed on the ground. I mean, holy crap. Why do you have to put up with that shit? Just move. Just go to another country. Go to China. You have more freedom there and the fauna is less deadly. Thank you, Zenith, for the donation of the $5 ruse. Your lack of entertainment channel is criminally unsubbed. Also, I remember when you get 600 viewers on this channel, maybe after Orange Man lost people's interest. Right, so, no, like, I know why I'm getting so fewer subscribers on this channel. There's several reasons. The first one is the fact that I keep deleting live streams. And I keep deleting live streams because of the horror stories that I keep seeing on Twitter. It's like, oh, so I was doing this live stream 3 hours and then I said something controversial. Boom, my entire channel got flagged, right? So I try to avoid that. The second reason is that there's a lot more live streamers on YouTube than there used to be. I mean, back in the day, especially during Internet Blood Sports, like there were a couple of streamers, not very many. But now we just have a lot of streamers. I mean, even the VTuber girls and then everyone, you know. I even know a German that used to like me and now he's watching some lady streamer. So the competition is harsh, which is fine, you know, like, what can I do? I'm doing my best. More than this, I don't know what to do. And then there's the third reason. The algorithm also hates me. Like, seriously, it treats me with spite, disdain, and disgust. So, unless you guys want to share this around on various platforms, on social media, on Discord, in order to get more people in, it is what it is. So I'm resignated. I know that this is what I'm going to get. I tried moving the hour. I tried streaming in the morning a little bit. I'm streaming during the night. So I guess if I make $30, like this is my goal. If I make $30 per stream, I'm happy. I'm satisfied. It's just what I want. I want $30. 30 buckaroos. And that's it. Now, apparently, like, someone was playing God of War, and it had the small channel, and it got, like, over 1,000 people watching. So, yeah, there's God of War on PC. Really great if you want to be disappointed. Not with the game. The game is good, but the part 2 is coming out. I saw who the lead writer is. I saw a couple of their opinions on the Twitter. So, if you want some major disappointment, play God of War. I'm pretty sure the second part is going to totally subvert your expectations if you expect a good game. So, there's that. Now, another super chat from Rustavius J. Have some cash. I'd only spend it on chocolate or Monster Energy. Well, thank you, Rusta. I'll take them away from you. Especially now that I'm going on a diet with my wife. Although, the diet is more expensive than actually eating normally. Because it requires a lot of plants. It requires a lot of fruits. All of these things cost a lot more money than if I were to just buy some hamburgers and sausages. So, hopefully, the streams are going to keep being profitable. I can already tell you that some randy aboriginals literally got bit by that spider as an aphrodisiac. Well, the thing with aboriginals, like, this is something in Africa as well, that there are some tribes which live in an area with a certain snake, and they actually develop immunity towards that snake, right? So, I don't know how, I don't know why, but, and it's not like they allow themselves to be bitten or anything like that. No, but, like, you have, like, those people in the area, which, if they're getting bitten by the snake, like, nothing happens to them. But if you get bitten by that snake, you die. So, Will you play Elden Ring on stream? Probably not on stream. The thing is that when you play video games on stream, you have to watch the chat as well, and it is a lot more difficult than just playing the game. The main thing is, like, I'm not really that entertaining when I play video games. And I can see this on my subscriber count. Like, if I were to play a video game now, I would probably have like 50 people watching. So I genuinely try to avoid playing video games as much as possible, especially since I know I won't finish them. Like, it's very demotivating to see that the viewership drops and drops and drops. So that's why I don't play video games that much. If I find an esoteric game that I think that you guys should check it out, I will probably play it. But I think everyone knows what Elden Ring is. I'm pretty sure a lot of people will get into it. It looks a nice game. I enjoy it because it's from from Software. But I gotta say, I would have been happier with the Bloodborne 2. I would have been happier with the Sekiro 2. I don't really enjoy what they're going with, especially like after you get Demon Souls, you get another game in the similar medieval fashion. And I don't really like the open terrain type of thing, the open world with the horse, whatever. Fine, at the end of the day, it's a forum soft game, so I'm not complaining. It's kind of like if you get a pizza that's bad, it's still a pizza, so you still enjoy it. But could have been better. I would have been more hyped with Bloodborne 2, basically. So let's see what else we got. We got Lucifer, the Doberman. Will you play Elden Ring? I responded to this. Hexile Degenerate. Get a crypto wallet so it can tip you with no middleman. I think my accountant would go insane if I did that. Like, she barely even understood what it is I'm doing. I think my accountant still doesn't really get what I'm doing. I think they're thinking, like, I told them to treat me like one of those cam girls. Yes, like I told my accountant, like, think I'm a cam girl. Like, you do business with cam girls. Yeah, okay, I'm like a cam girl, literally that. But I don't show boobies. Okay, so I don't show titties. But other than that, it is what it is. I go online, people give me money. That's what I do. And like, oh, okay. So hopefully now they understand. But let's see. Have you considered backing yourself up on Rumble? I backed myself up on BitChute. I did upload a couple of videos on Rumble, but they didn't get any viewership, nothing. So I'm not that optimistic. Why are you laughing? It's literally what I do. It's literally my job. And at the end of the day, she doesn't need to understand my job. She just needs to understand my bank account. Okay? This is the money coming in. Make sure that it is being properly taxed and filed. Tell me how much taxes I need to pay. If you fuck it up, I sue you. So that is the relationship between me and my accounting firm. Because now it's a firm. It used to be an old Jewish lady. Like, when I found out that she's Jewish, I was like, okay, so the stereotype is saying that she must be good with money. Stereotypes don't come from nothing. I'm not an anti-Semitic person, so there we go. Or are you anti-Semitic if you hire a Jewish accountant? I don't know nowadays. Like, if the stereotype is a positive one, is it bad? Like, if it's a positive stereotype. So if a woman goes to a black man because she thinks he might have a big cock, like she stereotypes, right? Is that racism or not? It probably is racist. Was I anti-Semitic? So again, if you have a choice between a Jewish accountant and a non-Jewish accountant, and you go for the Jewish one because of the stereotype, are you being anti-Semitic even though the stereotype is positive? If you go to an Asian with a math problem, I mean, it depends. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I got conflicting informations with this. Why does she know what cam girls are? Because there's a lot of cam girls in Romania, Tactical Droid, and they all need an accountant. That's why she knows what cam girls are. There aren't that many YouTubers in Romania, however. At least not in my town. I mean, there are a couple of Romanian YouTubers, but apparently most of these idiots, like it was on television, they don't pay their taxes. And I'm thinking, how on earth can you be a YouTuber and not pay your taxes? Like, you need to be mentally challenged. Because everything goes through the bank, and the Romanian banks share all the information with the government. I mean, if you're making like $100, $200 per month, okay. But if you're making more than 1,000 in a country like Romania, like you raise red flags. Like they will know. Like there's just why you do this. Why don't you add yourself to the extras? Boom, got him. What do you mean? Add myself to the extras? Nani? Yeah, selling Romanian graveyard dirt. You know, like here's the thing. How would you know it's graveyard dirt? Like I wouldn't videotape myself doing it. So. Didn't a bunch of online content creators move to Andorra for tax purposes? Yeah, if I wasn't this patriotic and if I didn't have a wife, I would probably move to a tax haven. It's getting annoying. Especially now that they're talking about raising the taxes. Like, raising the... Okay, fine. I heard Polska is turning communist again. You know anything about this? No, I don't know, and I don't think Polska is going to turn communism. All right, let's look at some of the other weeks is stupid, because we got a couple more materials. So this one I actually didn't believe when I first saw it. I had to fact check with a German, and apparently they told me that it is true. And I'm like, come on, dude, really? Like I was. Noni intensifies. So, this is from the German government. Okay, this is translated. If you're a new immigrant to Germany and wish to have gay sex with a German man, check out the German government's helpful website for instructions. I didn't know like gay people come with an instruction manual, but apparently the government has one. Most German men will be happy to have gay sex with immigrants, but it's important to ask. And we have a... Dude, like, I'm not making it up. Like, feel free to... Unless, okay, there is a but. There is a but. Unless the German is trolling me. Because I saw this online from It's a Gundam. And then I asked a German friend, like, dude, is this real? Like, because I didn't believe it, right? I mean, you're looking at it, like, it's too ridiculous. It's like cringe over 9,000. Like, what the fuck? Apparently, it is. Okay? But still, take it with a grain of salt just because I refuse. I refuse to believe that is true. So, let's put it under big if true. Okay? Let's file it under big if true. But I love it. You know, it's what a person from 4chan would do if they managed to get into the German government. Like, it's a little it. The facial expression as well, like the eyes, the contact. It's like, it's perfect. Why is the immigrant having to be the top, though? Why can't the German be the top, huh? The Germans are always the bottom. Okay, you know what? Too complicated. I'm not going to go into it. But I just looked at it and I'm like, oh, come on. Get the fuck out. And then apparently it's true. The problem, yeah, like, see, this is the issue. Like, you don't know if it's satire or not. Like, I'm leaning a lot towards satire, but Can you really be certain? Because you think you have a firm grasp on reality. Like, you think you know. And then you see progressives in the United States, like anti-racists, segregating kids in school. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, you think you know. You're putting a lot of faith in your instincts. And then it's like, nope. Well, you know, like Germany, well, the European Union, they were upset that America doesn't give them soy. And I remember, like, negotiating with Trump, and part of the more important negotiation was the United Europe wanted to import soy from the United States. Like, I really love that. Now, speaking of importing soy, let me see if I can find the link, because it's been a while. But if I can't find it, I'll just tell you what is going on. So apparently there's some food shortages going in the United States. And my favorite... Oh, okay, I found it. So my favorite point is when you show to people, like you go into a supermarket and you film it. And every person is like, oh, well, this is not the same in my supermarket. Oh, you're lying. If it's not happening everywhere at once, then you're lying. Look, motherfucker, if it happened everywhere at once, you would have people on the street. Like, this would be a major crisis. No, it depends on the brand of the supermarket. It depends on the supply chains. It depends on many things. But there is video evidence that it is happening. It's not just one. It's like several. However, what does appear to be like a common trend is that in all these supermarkets, you manage to find the vegan products untouched. So you get to see, like in all these places, look, like you get to see it here, and you get to see it here, and you get to see it here. It's like empty shelves, and somewhere in the middle, you get the vegan stuff. So there was a vegan person which said, hey, you know what? You guys should actually, like, this is a great opportunity for you guys to try it out because they're really great and you're saving the planet. That person now has barred the doors and locked the windows. Like, you can't, because you gotta wave. We got like this expression in Romania when someone stuffs the meat into your refrigerator. It means like someone starts cursing you and hurling insults about your mother and her virginity, right? So when someone stuffs the meat into your refrigerator, it's a euphemism. That's what it means. So a lot of people were stuffing wagons of meat into this guy's refrigerator. So he had to shut it down. He had to close the account. But I said, you know, like he told me, it's like you should try it out because they're really great. And I said, look, I tried them out. They are vile and disgusting. If I was in a plane crash, I'd rather resort to cannibalism before eating those. Like, think about it. You're in a plane, and the plane is stuffed with these things, and it's a crash, right? You crash somewhere in the Himalayas, and it's cold. It's, you know, it's a desperate struggle for survival, and the pilot died. Like, the pilot died during the crash. So you have two options. You have the option to eat this or to eat the pilot. Now, when I suggested that I would probably opt to eat the pilot, some people would say that, you know, like, first of all, that might be the healthy decision. Because these things have a lot of additives and a lot of salt. So, like, eating the pilot might actually be the correct decision in that situation. Like, it's better for survival. Bear Grylls would have eaten the pilot, basically. Like, okay. Still, you know, the free market doesn't lie. Like, people would rather travel somewhere else than to buy these things. It gives me hope, though. Like, if you're a person that can eat this, like, if you're a person that natural evolution granted the gift so that you can actually digest these things, you're not going to survive. You're not going to suffer from the famine. Like, you will survive the famine. You are one of the lucky ones that are adapted to survive. I gotta give props to you. I have nothing but envy in my heart when I look at you. Like, imagine managing to buy these things. Holy shit, $6. Fuck me. $6? Oh my god. God. $6 of pain and suffering. That's what you get. Yeah, honestly, I would prefer the bugs over this, unironically. Like, I would rather eat the bugs. At least the bugs have meat. At least the crickets. Give me the crickets. Where are the crickets? You'll eat some falafel. Well, you know, like, the falafel at least doesn't pretend to be something it's not. So the falafel is still comestible. I mean, look, I'm not against vegetables, right? But when you have something that pretends to be something it's not, that's when it triggers me. And I think this is like some hardwired thing that humans have. Like, for example, I don't know if this ever happened to you, but let's say you want steak, right? And your wife is going to cook steak. And you're like, okay, fine. You know, like she's finally cooking steak and she calls you for dinner and you're going down there, you know, really expecting to get that steak. And when you go into the kitchen, you realize that she cooked something else. Like she cooked rice with broccoli. And you're like, motherfucker. You know, like the level of disappointment makes you unable to enjoy the food. At least it happens to me. Like if my mind thinks that I'm going to eat something and I get excited, it's kind of like going into a restaurant and the waiter fucks up your order. It's kind of like that. Like so that is probably why I don't like these things. It's like they're pretending to be something they're not. They're pretending to be the meat that they're not. The left can't meme, but the shortages can't supply because the left can't supply, but the left can demand. Oh my god, I'm stealing that. You know what? I'm taking away your intellectual property. I made that. Your kinder education is getting rusty. What does falafel mean? Yeah, so falafel isn't actually that popular in Romania. In Romania, the popular thing is shawarma. But the falafel can be found in a shawarma. So if you go to London and you have a falafel, I remember I ate from like the Grand Falafel or something. So it's a deep fried ball or patty-shaped fritter made from ground chickpeas. You will not make a falafel because I'm starving. Put that pork liver into the pan. Unfreeze it then. Put it into the microwave and give me the pork liver. God, falafel. Jesus. I swear to God, woman, I'm ordering a pizza. That's how you talk with your wife. You threaten that you're going to order a pizza. She starved me the entire day. I'm going to look like I'm coming out of Auschwitz. Anyway, right. So, where were we? Sorry, I got a little sidetracked. We evolve hands to make sharp sticks to kill the tiger, not to eat the cabbage. Human evolved to be on top, not to eat our food eats. The thing is, like, you're an omnivore, right? So, apparently the best diet is 75% veggies and 25% meat. So, yeah, you have hands to also plow the field. Like, let's put it that way. It is the source for Poland returning to communism. I'll look it after the stream. You couldn't pay me enough to eat fake meat. Well, it is what it is. Thank you, Evil Kitty. Lots of iron. Well, the thing is, like, we're going on a diet and there's like some pig liver left in the fridge. And if we're going on a diet, it's going to take months. So I don't want that food to rot. I mean, I paid for that food. We need to eat it. Remember, you have to sleep sometimes. It's 8 p.m. Like, when do you want me to... Well, dude, leave me alone. Sticks ain't going to help versus tiger. Yeah, Sticks actually can help versus tiger. Give me 10 men with spears and it works very fine against the tiger. What? How do you think people used to hunt animals in the past? It's actually how they also hunted the wild boar. Like, in Game of Thrones, the reason the king died is because the boar managed to go through the spear. Like, go under the spear. But it's basically, yeah, like, it was a test of manliness. So you had 10 or 20 people, right, doing a spear formation, and that's how they hunted animals. They would surround the animal and then poke it. It's kind of like bullfighting in Spain. It's the same principle. Like, why do you think they use the spear? It's like, yeah, pointy sticks are very useful. Don't diss pointy sticks. Don't pick on pointy sticks are OP in nature, by the way. Like, pointy stick. Not only do you have the pointy stick, which can do melee damage, you can also throw it. I mean, humans are probably one of the only animal on Earth which can throw shit and do damage. I mean, well, okay, never mind. Monkeys can do that, like monkeys, but like, no other animal can pick stuff up and throw it and injure something else. Like, why do you think some of the most primitive weapons are throwing weapons? Wild boars, perhaps, tigers will just leave. No, what they used to do is that they would have a couple, because I know like Chinese peasants used to do this. They would have people banging pots and coming downhill to scare the tiger, and then you had like the actual people with the spears downhill in order to fight the tiger. It was very dangerous, but well, also very manly, I guess. Birds do it. Birds don't throw shit at you, like, and even if they do that, they're not doing it to attack you. So yeah, like a crow will take a walnut and just drop it from up high, hoping that it cracks. Yeah, okay, but it's not doing that in order to injure someone on the ground. All right. The bush beaters, is that what they're called? Bush beaters. Yeah. Leave tigers alone. Well, yeah, I mean, the problem with tigers is they don't leave you alone. I mean, it depends. We're not talking about the modern civilization. We're talking about ancient times. Like medieval times and upwards. That's what I'm talking about. Back then, there were plenty of tigers to go around as well. So anyway, right. This happened. I'll probably make another video. I don't know why people didn't watch my first video on it. I thought it's a major controversy and people will be interested. But surprisingly, not a lot of people cared. Maybe I didn't put the catchy thumbnail or I didn't have a good title. But I love how everyone that doesn't play tennis and doesn't know anything about Australia has something to say about this man. And it's not just in Romania, and I'm talking about radio hosts and journalists and TV hosts and whatever. Like, everyone is talking and everyone's like, blah, 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 what he did. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking like, okay, do you even know the story? So the story is that he got an invitation, right? So the Australian, if I'm not mistaken, the Australian Open is like operated by the government, right? Like, it's not a private enterprise. It's funded by the Australian government. So when they invite you, it's considered that, well, it's kind of like the Australian government is inviting you, right? So he accepts the invitation. And then the Australian government goes, oh my God, you're not vaccinated. You didn't take the Pfizer communion. Oh, go back. And the man goes like, no, I'm going to sue. Oh my God, when he said that, I mean, there were Romanian journalists that blew a gasket. Like, I could literally see the vein throbbing in their throats. It's like, oh, and they were like red in their face. It's like, how dare he sue? With what right? It's like, well, with the right that he's in a democratic country, allegedly. I mean, the lawmakers aren't demigods that should decree which shape reality. No, like, you can contest their decisions, you can sue. And apparently he won. Now, the problem is, there's a lot of Australians, and I noticed that the number of people, if you look at the polls, the number of people that agreed with him were like 5%, and then it went up to 20. It's probably higher now. Like, it planted the seed of doubt in the Australian mind. That's what it did. Because, like, the Australian citizen noticed, it's like, hold on a little bit. There are other countries besides Australia, and they have different rules than us, and the case totals isn't that different. So why are we under the boot? Why is it that like other countries get to have more freedom than us? So it's the seed of doubt. Is it going to sprout into something in 1 year or 2 years? Like, are we going to see a different change in public opinion? I don't know. But the government felt very uncomfortable. It's like, what do you mean you come from Serbia and you have like a doctor's note? Like, no, there is no doctor note. There is the Pfizer communion, which is the Alpha and Omega. That's it. Besides the fact that this man is a Serbian national icon, I mean, usually Eastern European countries cherish their famous athletes. In fact, Erdogan might actually suffer a little bit of defeat next election because one of the Turkish football icons is now living in the United States because he doesn't like Turkey. So, like, the very fact, the very notion. I think he has a bakery shop in the US. So the fact that the national football icon can't live in Turkey, that actually does harm him quite a bit in public opinion. It's kind of interesting, like, these things actually matter. So yeah, like, this Serbian national icon has been humiliated. Serbia does not appreciate this. The Serbian president doesn't appreciate it. Serbians don't think that he did anything wrong because, again, he was invited. He had a doctor note from Serbia. And, yeah, well, apparently, from what I understand, is that he was a moral contagion. Like, this is why the Australian government didn't like him. It's because he's setting a bad example to other people. And I'm thinking, like, okay, but you do realize that by now, most people have made the decision. Like, it's not a tennis player that's going to influence that decision. Like, it's not a person that was scheduling his vaccination status, but then he saw the Novak Djokovic and went like, oh, fuck it, you know? I changed my mind. Like, let's get real. What world are we living in? Who thinks like that? And honestly, if a single person thinks like that, like, if you have people that actually look at tennis players for moral guidance and wisdom, my advice is get some help. Like, what, don't you have a family? Don't you have a mother? Don't you have a father? Like, ask them for advice. Why are you looking at tennis players? The only reason you should look at tennis players is if you want to learn how to play tennis. And you want to get some tips about how they're practicing, how they're training, what diet they're having. Like, okay, that's understandable. But other than that, you should not get moral life advice from tennis players. Like, your life advice should be based on your personal feelings and talking with your friends and family. Okay, people that know you. Anyway, remember Helmut Kohl? He said some spicy things before he died. I don't know about that, to be honest. I'm sorry. It's very esoteric. Yeah, now you have an international incident between Australia and Serbia. But I mean, it's not like Serbia can do anything to Australia or vice versa. You know, it's not like they have like some strong trade dealings or their nations halfway across the globe from each other. So I guess they can just get frowny faces towards one another. But I'm telling you this, like, this is probably going to affect Australia tourism a little bit. I don't know how much tourism Australia gets from Europe anyway, especially not from Eastern Europe, but yeah, so some people might not want to go there after this event. Thanks for making fun of the proposed Austrian secret police. I literally don't understand. Why do they think a secret police is a good idea? I mean, you had terrorist attacks, and from what I know, they didn't make a secret police then. And I'm not a big fan of the secret police anyway. But, they also tried informant, like ratting people, like it's a prison. Like, trying to get people to rat on each other. It's kind of funny because Romania never did any of those two things. Like, there were proposals of the thing, but I guess we lived under communism, and it was too triggering for the Romanian folk, and they went, fuck that shit. They had a hotline for you to rat on people, and there was a lot of meat packed into their refrigerator. Again, it's a euphemism for cursing in Romania. It's like, when someone curses about your mother, the euphemism is he's putting meat into your refrigerator. I really don't know why. I have no idea where this euphemism came from, but a lot of people use it. The CIA is basically a secret police. No, it's not. So, the CIA, first of all, has to operate on foreign soil and whatever. No, like, the secret police is like, there's a guy at your workplace, and he's actually part of the police. You know, or you go out on the street, and all of a sudden you get stopped by two individuals and they identify as police officers. Like that's secret police. It's not like the CIA or whatever. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not carrying water for the CIA here. I'm not saying that what they do, everything is on the up and up. I mean, they had their fair share of controversies over the time, but it's not like the Securitate, right? So the Securitate, those were the actual secret police officers, and you could be stopped on the street for no reason, and they would identify, hey, okay, we're secret police, you're coming with us, and there was nothing you could do. You couldn't ask for a lawyer, you couldn't do anything. So yeah, but like the difference between that, like people say, well, the CIA doesn't follow the foreign soil rule. Okay, fine. Like that, the difference is that the secret police is designed to operate on your soil. Like they have the right to operate on the soil. Yeah, the NSA basically would be, but even the NSA, I think like it's not supposed to operate in America. No, it would be like if the NSA and the CIA would be allowed to operate in the United States. Like if they were to have full permission to operate in the US. The CIA is way better than the KGB, all the other garbage that people compare them to. I don't know. I mean, I don't even know how you can quantify these organizations. So I have no idea. I mean, in the 70s, the Soviet Union managed to subvert America quite thoroughly. I mean, you even had like what was the name of that guy? McCarthy, right? Like McCarthy was complaining about communists in the government. Well, the KGB opened its files in the 90s. Apparently, there weren't a couple of communists in the government. Like McCarthy was wrong. He was lowballing it. It was thousands of them. So, well, not to mention, like, there are a couple of fuck-ups that the CIA did. Like, at one point, they had a leak, and the KGB managed to unearth, like, their entire spy network in the Soviet Union, which set them back. So it's not there's even a TV show about that. I forgot what it was called, but I don't know how you can quantify. Like many people say, Pakistan has like the best secret service agency. It's like, all right, well, how do you tell if it's like better than Israel's? Like, what is the point system? Not to mention, like, these people are operating in secret. So even if they manage to accomplish something, you wouldn't know their name. You wouldn't. So yeah, I'm a person on the right in the USA, and I supply the demand, but the left is useless, calling welfare god. Oh yeah, the welfare god. Well, apparently a lot of economists are saying that the gravy welfare trade is going to come to an end mathematically. Like there's not going to be enough money to pay for welfare, and when that happens, you're going to see a lot of people upset. CIA has had illegal black sites in America. FBI more of a secret police. Yeah, like it is exactly that. The thing is, like, if you look at the secret police in the Soviet Union, the KGB, right? Or the secret police in Romania, Securitate. There are still some checks and balances towards the FBI. So even the way it is now, like with all the imperfections and with all the criticisms, there were no checks and balances towards Securitate. Like it was so bad, you can't imagine. Okay, like what I'm trying to say is that there is room for worse. Like, think about internet censorship in 2016. And you're looking at it and you're like, okay, there's internet censorship. But it wasn't as bad as it is now. And it doesn't mean that what it is now can't get worse. So what I'm saying is, like, when you talk about the FBI and the CIA and you're comparing them to the secret police, I'm saying it's like internet censorship in 2016. Actual secret police would look like internet censorship in 2022. Are you pro or anti neoconservative? I don't even understand how conservatism can be neoconservatism. Like new conservative. Like if you're conserving, you're preserving the past. Like how can you be a new neoconservative? Like the definition is completely mindfucked. And secondly, honestly, I don't know what the difference between neoconservatives and progressives are. I mean, economically and foreign, right? So I guess like neoconservatives theoretically don't talk about identity politics as much, but they're still open borders. They're still, let's bring democracy into the Middle East and blah blah blah. Checks and balances are what the elites promise. Do you promise? Do you trust them? Oh my fucking god! Like, look, I'm sick and tired of explaining to you, black pill boomer, about checks and balances. Yes, like there are many examples of people who won against the state. They sued the government and they won. In Romania, I can give you like at least 5 names of people that I recently know who managed to sue against the government and won. Stop with the doomerism. Yes, if you're going to sit in your house and you're going to suck cock, then there are no checks and balances. James Holden for president. The neoliberal is so that liberals can sister their belief from Clinton and Obama. No. I don't want to get into that. Let's see. How much time do we have left? We got 3 more minutes. And then I'm going to eat that pig liver. I'm so upset that YouTube removed my comment section on the Expanse video because I really wanted to talk about it. In Romania, yes, but we're talking about America. It depends on what state in America. It depends what the issue is. Are there certain things that in America, like like, is there corruption in America? Yes, absolutely. Is everything corrupt in America? No. There are checks and balances in America. Like, for example, the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. Like, everyone thought the kid is going to go to prison. He didn't. It depends. Look at the vaccine mandates, which failed in court. Like, there are checks and balances. Stop being... Like if you're never going to sue, if you're never going to, try to challenge a legal decision, then yeah, there are no checks and balances. But you don't know until you try them. If there are no checks and balances, why are they trying to get rid of the filibuster? Are there checks and balances on immigration? Well, the reality is, like, most Americans don't want to get rid of immigration. There are a couple of red states that do, but in blue states they don't. And really, you can't impose your values and think that everyone thinks like you. Neocons were comic book villains. Progressives are jesters. I don't know, like, progressives are in power, so there is what it is. Anyway, right. It's been a good week of Stupid. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And tune in tomorrow because I got some more interesting subjects coming up. We're going to be talking about a guy who spilled the beans with how it's like to be working in tech. I don't know if it's true or not, but hopefully it's going to be insightful. And I'll be releasing the videos on my secondary channel in a bit. Finally, the last super chat from Crafty Huragok. Neoconservative is pro-globalization and conservatives is constitutionalist or originalist. Okay, I see. Are you surprised that there are still communists like Antifa in Romania still exist? No, I'm not. Like any democratic nation that allows liberty is going to have various factions. Like yes, there are Antifa in Romania, but they're not as numerous. There's also fascists in Romania. They're very different than the ones from Germany. They're very different than like any country that allows freedom of thought is going to have various people. I mean, we got 20 million people here. So the idea that you wouldn't have communists is bewildering. Anyway, man, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later.